Our team is called In Touch. It's me. My name is Awais. We have Gilman, and who's worked on a very, very important core feature that you'll hear about soon. And then we have Sherzod, who has a great level of expertise with the backend and databases. And we have Gallelee, who's worked with me on the front end and a lot of with React. And so now let's start with the presentation. So, oops, start here. All right, so what's the problem, right? Life can get busy. Either you're going to school, working, traveling, and it can be really easy to lose touch with people around you. And sometimes weeks go by, sometimes months, sometimes years, and people are sad because they can't connect with you. 3 out of 5 Americans feel lonely. Loneliness and social isolation is a real issue that affects everyone. And especially with recent events, we experience that on an even more higher scale. And this is just from the CDC, some statistics about how it can actually impact our physical health. That's where In Touch comes in. We are on a mission to help people get connected and stay connected. At In Touch, we believe that working hard towards your life goals shouldn't come at the cost of personal relationships. When you join In Touch, we'll remind you when it's been a while since you last connected. And with that reminder, you have the option to send them a text right from the app. So get in touch and we'll keep you in touch. So now we go into the core feature, one place for all of your connections. And so how we work that out with the data that we use, I'm going to hand it off to Gilman to come in and just explain to you how this interface works. Go ahead, Gilman.
Hi. So like my colleague always said, our target audience features people who sort of have trouble keeping in touch with their close friends or families. And so we wanted to create an app that sort of finds a way to streamline that process of connecting without having to go through the hassle of maybe meeting in person or going through various other means. So the way we wanted to represent sort of our app is through visual representation. So to visualize the strength of our connections with other people, we wanted to display it using a graph instead of text. Because when you see text, sometimes we'll see like, oh, we haven't met up with this person for a certain amount of time, or, oh, it's been a while since I've contacted this person, called this person, but you don't really end up doing it because it takes a lot more work, or you find that you feel lethargic and you don't want to do it. So with our app, instead of having to go through the whole process, we put it all into one place so you can see all your connections, the last time you connected with somebody, and if you want to connect with somebody, you can do it right through our app with one click of a button. And if you go to the next slide. So the way it works is we have a graph representation with our user as the central node, and then our friends are connected to that one node. So if you click on one of the friend nodes, it'll bring up a side panel with details about that friend and their contact information. So if you want to contact that person, you can either call or text them, and we implemented this feature using Twilio to send messages over phone numbers. And we also have the option to delete friends if we feel that we're no longer connected with them. If you go to the next one, and you just play the video. So this is sort of a demonstration of how our graph effect works. So right now, the central user is me, is the GH in the center, and those are my friend connections. So the way it works is the longer the length of the line between the center and the external node is how sort of distant that person is from the central user. So the longer the node, the less I am connected with that person. And then every time I make a connection or I send them a message, the node will come closer to me to sort of represent that the relationship has grown stronger. Yeah, and then that's pretty much the main feature of our app. If you
Thank you,
and I'll
Gilman.
hand it off to my other colleagues.
That was excellent. So the core feature of the application is that we allow you to measure your interactions, to quantify them, to be able to track them, and to make sure that the ones that you want to keep close to you remain close to you. And so from there, we head on to, okay, next. Okay, so there we head on to how can you join In Touch? So we have a lovely interface where you can come and actually sign up for an account. So I personally worked on this, making sure that whatever you see is there on the front end, and just every little detail here. Although it looks a little simple, we see it every day, but building it in experience, it was a little bit challenging using pure CSS and design. So you can create your own account. You can log in. This is a demonstration of the user logging in. And once you enter your credentials, you click login, you can go right into the homepage where you now have access to all the features of the site. So now, if you notice that very attractive connect with Google button, we do have Google Authentication. So we understand it can be a hassle to create new accounts for every different site. We don't want you to go through that. You already have a Gmail account. You can come in, click one button. You already have an account, you sign in with us with Google. So Google Authentication was driven by Sherzod, his expertise here. So I'm gonna hand it off to him to explain how he really implemented this. So go ahead, Sherzod.
Thank you for that, Awais. All right, so using Google or any other big corporation sign-in method to implement into your website has great advantages. One of them is that you don't need to keep track of passwords or even usernames for that matter. Or all you need to keep track of is that if that user already exists in your database, and as the user yourself, you don't need to worry about losing your username or passwords. With one click, you're logged in. And then another great feature is that by logging in with Google, you will allow the website to use some of your information, such as your name, so you don't have to enter it, and your profile picture. So and some additional information. We could take that information and personalize the experience for you.
Thank you, Sherzod.
That's it for now, Awais.
That is beautiful, beautiful explanation. All right, so then we go into the profile. So you know how the app works. You can sign in, you can join, you can become a member. Now, what do you get access to? What do you see on a day-to-day basis? So I was responsible for the profile page. And here you can come in and you see your profile on the left, assuming you're John Nelson, you'll see your number and you'll see your initials here. And then you'll see in the middle panel, a form at the top where you can add more contacts. And at the bottom, now you see a lot of Andrew Jacksons here, but hopefully you don't know that many. So we'll have all your friends listed, and this updates real time. You click, you add the contact, it automatically adds them, and you can see them right through this panel that actually slides left and right and can accommodate a lot of friends. And the scroll, there's also a scroll that pops up, but it was just in the image, not caught up. Another thing, there's a lot of stretch features that we've thought of along the way, where you could add, where we actually added a slider where you can also send in how connected are you with this person. So we can keep track of that from the get-go and then build upon that. So adding contacts, we're just using React forms, using this use state to keep that data from the form stored and updated. And then we make that post API request using Axios to the backend to have it saved in our database. And now to display the friends, where you see at the bottom, at the bottom here, that is done using React props. We're getting the data that we already got before with the GET request, and then we send it down to the profile page component and the CSS just to make that panel, and dot map property, which is great. We can render each friend with the same design overall. And then the interactive design, and this was a huge part. I mean, one of the big parts of the project, and bringing it to present it in a very good way. And so I work very heavily with Gallelee. So if you want to step in and kind of go through the design process that we had.
Yeah. So for the design, it was me and Awais. We kind of brainstormed a little bit of the overall look and style of the design. We took recommendations from all the teammates because we didn't just want to make a design and not have everyone like it. So really like clean designs, things like that. We went through a process. You can see the process kind of here in our Figma, where we made a couple of designs and we kind of took pieces from each of them. Awais with the login and sign in, and me with the nav bar, things like that. For these were a couple of designs for our friend slide on the graph that pops out. So we went through a couple versions until we were really satisfied. And then here you can see our final design. Inside of this, you'll see those 3 bubbles. Those were animated using a library for React called Spring. Kind of took this as an opportunity to really learn about new libraries and what we could do. Spring was really fun. It made animating kind of like a fun process. It's a really great library. It has a couple of hooks. You can use it with normal CSS properties and things like that. So it's really, really great. And you can go on.
All right. So yeah, design aspect of it was very enjoyable. And yes, it was thorough. And then the back end, I guess we'll go to Sherzod again here. He was excellent with from day one in setting up the back end, getting us those API endpoints to connect with the front end. So I'm just gonna give it off to him for a bit if he can elaborate on what parts his experience building the back end and maybe perhaps 1 or 2 challenges that he faced during that time.
Thank you for that, Awais. So the back end, there isn't much extraordinary stuff about the back end. The only new things that I could talk about is one of which was Google Authentication. I already talked about that. And then another feature I implemented into the back end was Twilio. For those of you who don't know, Twilio is an automated messaging system. So what I did was I got their API and I set up a connection with it so that the user has you as the user have the option to connect with your friends right through the app. So if you want to send them a message, you could put in their number, and then it will message your friend on your behalf. And so one of the challenges I had was implementing Twilio was pretty much it was pretty straightforward. But I had a good amount of trouble with implementing Google Authentication. I couldn't find one good method of implementing it, so that I had to watch a bunch of tutorials and I had to go through a lot of forums and just piece things together and get it like working. And since we're not in a corporate setting, I think that we could be honest with you without risking getting fired or anything. If you go to our website right now, the user experience is not that good because features such as Google Authentication and Twilio, we had to take them out in the last minute because it was causing too many bugs. And like even as of right now, without them, they still have the website itself. The front end has a lot of bugs. So if you really want to check out our website and have a really good experience, I highly encourage you guys to like come back next week. By then we will be finished with all the features so that you could have a very smooth experience. And you could take it on from here, Awais.
All right, thank you, Sherzod. Great explanation, and definitely that honesty that where we are in the process and where we see ourselves going within a very rapid, I guess, pace. So now we go on to the tech stack and overall all the technologies we used. And I think one of the things about this project, working with everybody, was that we also had to learn new things along the way. And one of the things was the D3 library. And that allows us to provide the data visualization. And Gilman, absolutely, he was able to go out, learn it, explain to us how it works, put it together, and really focus on the data visualization and make it come to life. And that was incredibly impressive. And thank you, Gilman, for that. And we also used Spring for animations, and G did an excellent job. All over the website, we have very, very interactive animations that just improve the user experience. And so incorporating that Spring, React Spring definitely was a great choice. So a lot of various technologies, and then we go into the demo. I mean, we've our methodology was to include snippets of the demos along the way, but hopefully this goes smoothly. So this is the home page. No, I'm sorry, this is the landing page. It says home because that's for the next one, but this is the landing page for every person out there that's going to go to the website. This is where it would land, and then this would be it should be clicked any second now. That should be the landing page. Boom, you click it and you get that. You come to the landing page. This is the home page where you click it, and now you have these options. So instead of having a very cluttered menu, and to keep that central theme of having nodes, we incorporated this design to allow you to access those three different things. However, you do have to log in and create an account with us. Either you can create an account with us, you can continue with Google, but you do have to do that to be able to access those features. So even though you see them, you can't access them until you actually do log in. Just waiting for this to play. Okay, let's see. All right, there we go. And you did see that login feature before. Go to login. All right, so yeah, there it is. Then you have access. So yeah, let me go back to the home page. All right, so thank you for watching the presentation. This was In Touch. Get in touch. We'll keep you in touch. And now I'm going to hand it off to Gilman if he wants to elaborate on any specifics or overall about his experience. And then afterwards, we can hand it off to either G or Sherzod if they want to chime in a little bit at the afterthoughts. So go ahead. Your mic is muted.
All right. I just want to give a quick mention to all my colleagues and how awesome they did on their end. I was only able to do most of the data visualization graph because I trusted them and they trusted me to do my part as well. So thank you to them. Some of the issues we had with sort of visualizing connections between people was figuring out how to represent that sort of connection. So we came up with the idea of using a network graph using the D3 library, which specifically takes data and represents it using certain SVG graphics. So we thought the best one to use would be the forced network graph, as you saw before in our small demo. A lot of the connections, the strength, the distance were all based on graph properties and a lot of the forces. So it was definitely difficult to learn, but I believe the outcome that we had was a rewarding enough experience to go through. And I'll pass it off to my other teammates.
G, do you want to jump in real quick and talk about your experience?
Yeah, so this is probably, I want to say, the most ambitious thing I've ever worked on in terms of coding since I've been at Brooklyn College. The experience was, it was an experience. So it was at times, you know, we got a little discouraged. We were like, okay, we don't know how we're gonna finish this. We have like 3 days. All right, day number 2 comes, we're like, okay, we need to get this done. Day number 3, we still can't figure out the graph. And we're like, oh, we may need a backup plan. But Gilman, he pulled it out. We stayed up until 4 a.m. last night. Every night was a late night. So I want to say like thank you to my team also, and thanks as Sherzod, you want to say something?
Yeah. So as the saying goes, wait, what was the saying? We are strong in numbers or something like that. I kind of felt it because I mean I did feel like we were kind of like we could have used one or two more hands because each person was working on their respective sides of the app, but we needed someone who was in the center, who would just like keep who would just try to take the strings from every end and then try to connect them. And I feel like that was one of the shortcomings we had as a group. We were trying to put everything together yesterday, and that like I don't know, like it was very difficult because we didn't have a one good I don't know the word a full stack engineer. I think, yeah.
All right, so thank you, everybody. Overall, it was a pleasure working with everyone. The dedication, the commitment to each of the individual parts, and the level of support was in the group was extremely high. Definitely was able to reach out to everybody, and then and I think we're on our way to build upon this. There's a lot of stretch features, so adding perhaps a Google account, maybe adding all your contacts from Google, and I'm sorry, Google and Facebook. Perhaps instead of just sending a text, maybe you can also send. You can call them. Maybe you can send. You can connect with them on IG. You can connect with them through Facebook, email. So there's a lot of different features that we have written down, and we have a plan to get there. But the concept has been built, established, and we're working towards it. So thank you to my team. Thank you to all the TTP instructors. And thank you to everybody in the TTP. Honestly, it's been a pleasure working with everybody along the way. So thank you, and hope you enjoy the presentation.
Make sure to check out the My Career tab on the BC Navigator app, where you can track your career progress based on the amount of credits you've earned, stay updated on upcoming events from the Magner Center, and watch our videos for insight and advice on your career field.